Hey, welcome back to the shop. This is Zach over at NV Woodworks. Today we're going to be making a sign using Alumilite resin, and I laser cut the letters into it. So most of this video, I just want to kind of point out at the beginning, most of it I want to be kind of focusing on the multi-layered pour and the resin casting in this video. I do go through all the steps that I did or took to get this thing where it is, but mainly I want to kind of talk about using Alumilite for something a little bit different and the multi-layered pour. So let's roll into the casting portion, and then I'll probably just kind of zip through all the steps and just kind of show you what I did. And then I'll come back at the end and kind of talk about my thoughts about the whole process. All right, so I got my first color ready. Again, this is going to be a multi-layer pour. The first one's going to be kind of a cream color, off-white type thing. I got my dye mixed in my part A, and I got my part B ready. I'm using Alumilite white for the whole thing. Again, this mold is way too big to fit in a pressure pot, so I'm just going to let it go, and it should work out all right. Alumilite white is so much thinner than clear or other resins that the air really has enough. It can free itself basically because of how thin it is. So we're just going to mix it up, pour it in, and one thing, because I'm not using a pressure pot, I'm going to use a little bit of heat and just try and see if I can help the air bubbles to release. Again, shouldn't be a problem though, so here we go. All right, so I got that poured. I want to give this a little bit of time, but I'm actually going to start working on the red right now because it doesn't take that long for this to harden up, being Alumilite white. It's only going to be a matter of minutes. So I want to start getting my red dye in and mixed, and I'm going to pour the second layer probably within about 5 minutes or so, maybe 10. All right, so we're ready to go for the second layer. This first one is actually still warm. I can still feel the heat coming off this. It's been about the time it took me to get these 2 cups of resin and dye, and then the part B measured on the scale. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour the second layer on top. I've overshot the amount that I need. I want to get a fairly thin layer because I'm going to be lasering in the words, and it doesn't need to be thick. It just needs to be a nice layer. I do want to get a little bit of room so that I can kind of polish up that red a little bit. There may be a couple little, on the tops you'll get little air bubble things and stuff, so I want to be able to kind of sand it off a little bit, but it's going to be thin. So I think we're ready to go. Let's mix this guy up and pour on our second layer. All right, so we got it all cured up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the mold apart. When you're not using stoner with these melamine molds, you're going to have to take it apart. You may go through some more molds doing this, but actually I've seen the melamine molds hold up fairly well even if you have to take them apart. So pop this guy apart and see what we got. All right, so we got it out, and I'm just gonna hit it with the drum sander to knock this kind of little ridge down on the sides. I'm gonna have to do work anyway because I kind of scratched this when I was knocking the sides out. But no big deal, just a little bit of sanding, some polishing, just like anything else if I was doing a pen or something. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to laser it, and that's going to be kind of tricky. I'm not going to go into lasering and all that kind of stuff. Frankly, I don't really know what I'm doing that much with the laser anyway, and it's going to take probably a few tries to get this right. So we'll just drum sand it, do that, and I'll kind of just show a couple clips of me doing the laser, but I'll come back at the end and just kind of talk about anything that I noticed while doing this. But the bottom line, if you're doing multi-layered pours, you really want to do it within about 24 hours of the first pour or the previous pour. You want to pour that second one. In this case, I did it right after once it hardened, and I got a pretty good bond, I think. So if you're going to do it, hours or the next day for that next pour, I would highly recommend scuffing up the top with 80 grit, maybe 120 grit. Give it a good sanding. Maybe even wipe it off with a little bit of rubbing alcohol or acetone just to kind of get rid of any contaminants or oils or anything that might be on there. Then give it a pour and you should get pretty good bonding. I've had pretty good success with it with Alumilite. So I'm going to just kind of do some clips of me just kind of dealing with this sign part. This video wasn't really about making the sign in depth, so I'll just kind of show what I do and we'll see how it turns out in the end. Well, all right, this thing turned out pretty awesome. It was a fun project. It's cool that I get to make something cool for my dad for his car when he's showing it. Overall, let's see, a couple things about the project that I wanted to mention. I didn't really cover this in the video or show it. After lasering, there's a couple of areas around the letters that are kind of, like little ridges and stuff. And I had a decision to make. I could either come back and re-sand and flatten and, make everything all perfect, or just leave it and just finish it up, polish it up. And so I chose, because it was like so minute, all these little things, that I just said, you know what, I think it's good. And so I chose to just buff it, and I have a Beal buffing system for the lathe. I just hit it with the white diamond and then the carnauba wax to get the kind of polish on this. And it's like 99% perfect, so good enough. Like I said, pretty cool project to be able to make this for my dad, and he gets to use it with his car. I'm going to post some pictures of the car, probably with this thing in the window where he's going to have it. So he'll be showing that in spring. And again, it's a 1956 Buick. So pretty cool stuff. Now, if you have any comments or questions about the project or anything in the video, I'm going to say probably don't ask me questions about laser engraving, because I really don't know what I'm doing. I don't think I'm qualified to answer questions about that stuff. So probably leave those out. But anything else, leave those down below. You can email me at zach@nvwoodworks.com. One thing, if you've done projects like this, I always love seeing what people make with casting resin, especially Alumilite. So send pictures in or let me know down in the comments if you've done some cool stuff. But other than that, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and I'm going to be joining Instagram soon, so look for me there. So I guess that's about it. So thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.